Hi, everyone. I know this is such a pop up and I've been sporadic, but like I said, we're in the middle of the move. Possibly the next stream will be from the new place. I have my blanket cozy on. It's massive because it's still chilly chill. All right. So we're going to get to it. And here is the intro. Welcome to Jevim's research channel. Be advised that this channel is not for anyone under the age of 18. Also, the research and discoveries of this channel should not ever reflect the personal opinion or views of Jevim or her team unless publicly stated. Please understand that the opinions of the audience is also not a reflection of what or how Jevim feels. Let's bring a curious mind and open heart to these spaces for educational purposes only. All right. So I don't know how long I'm going to be able to go because we were just given a lot of good news pertaining to our move. Some great news that we've been waiting on. However, I'm still going to do a reading because this is important. This is important to me. And several people have commented that they were glad that I am covering these stories because this is a lesser known book of Jewish folklore. And when you think about it, we have, Hans Christian Andersen, we have the Grimm Tales, we have Arabian Tales, we also have a lot of Oriental tales, a lot of Indian tales, but I don't know that I've ever, besides the Bible, ever heard of the Jewish folklore. So the Jewish folklore is much needed. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Now, it was proposed to me that because of these dark subjects that I listen to and expose, that I should have protection. Here is my protection. There is the protection. You see how that reflects? Yes, plus I am wearing my hematite rosary. It's a goddess rosary. I'll take it. Can take it off for a minute. It is the goddess rosary, y'all. Not a Jesus rosary. Look at her. You see her? She's pewter and she is actually on an very, very old. It's very old. Okay. I got it from my craft mother. Okay, so we're going to be going to the elusive diamond. And that might be the only one we do today because, like I said, I got some super good news. Super, super happy. All right, the elusive diamond. Let me get back to where let's see, where's my sound effects? Sound effects. All right, I'll say this right. The elusive diamond. Yeah, do you like that? Okay. All right, so here we go. There was a Jewish woman in Kurdistan who gave birth to a son. After the birth, her husband reminded her that she must remain indoors for 40 days. For when a woman gives birth, it is as if she herself has been reborn. And like a newborn child, she is in danger from malicious demons and spirits who resent her bringing new life into this world. So it sounds like 40 days and 40 nights, wow, to wander in the desert. Okay. So it was that the woman remained at home taking care of her infant, and when she had time to rest, she sat by the window and looked outside. Those were the coolest days of spring, and she would have loved to have gone out to enjoy the breeze and the scent of blossoms in the wind, but she had to remain inside, where time passed very slowly. Now the 40th day finally arrived, and it was the eve of the Sabbath. The woman dressed in her finest Sabbath dress and waited by the open door for her husband's return from synagogue. She imagined how fine it would be to walk outside the next day and work in the garden. And there, in the doorway, the winds tantalized her with rich scents, as if beckoning her to come out. Just then, the woman glimpsed something glowing brightly in the hollow trunk of the tree just outside their door. At first, she thought it was a star that only appeared to rest in the hollow trunk. But the more she stared at it, the more convinced she became that it was right there, only a few steps away. What could it be? It must be something precious that glowed so brightly, surely a diamond of immense value. The more she stared at it, the more certain the woman became that it was indeed a diamond resting in the hollow trunk, glowing as brightly as any star. Such a diamond could change their lives completely. No more would they have to scrape a living from the earth, barely surviving from day to day. And with these thoughts in mind, the woman forgot about her husband's warning about not leaving the house. How auspicious it is that a diamond's just, in the trunk of a tree. Mm-hmm. So it was that the woman stepped outside the door and reached out to clutch the glowing jewel. But before she could grasp it, it vanished right before her eyes. Much amazed, she felt around the hollow trunk. But the jewel was not to be found. Just then, a light caught her eye, and when she looked up, she saw the very same jewel perched on the gate where the goats were penned. This amazed her, for she could not imagine how it had gotten there, but all the same she hurried after it, determined not to lose it this time. And as she ran, she kept her gaze fixed on the glowing object. Even so, it was gone by. That's my cat. Even so, it has gone by the time she reached the gate. At first, she thought it might have fallen to the ground. She searched for it on her hands and knees, but when she finally looked up, she saw it glowing in the weeds by the road. It's like a carrot dangling. They give this woman's mind no credit, unfortunately. Well, perhaps it had rolled there, she told herself, although it was a considerable distance away, and she hurried off to catch up with the glowing gem. Strangely enough, every time she tried to approach the jewel, it seemed to move away. The woman could not understand this, but she kept running after it, even though she was already short of breath. In this way, the elusive diamond led her down the road to the river. The woman had begun to grow desperate, and nothing could have stopped her from trying to catch up with the glowing stone. Yet she trembled at the thought of going to the river at night, especially on the eve of the Sabbath, when demons and spirits were said to congregate there. But the woman forced these fears out of her mind and hurried onward until she reached the bank of the river. There she saw a glowing gem hovering over the water near the shore, and her only thought was that she must have that diamond no matter what. And she noticed that the diamond was no longer moving away, but remained in the same spot, an arm's length away. For the first time, the woman saw the glowing jewel up close. It was indeed a diamond, glowing mysteriously, perfectly cut, only inches beyond her reach. Kneeling on the shore, the woman leaned out as far as she could. It was then that she fell into the water, and as soon as she did, she was pulled down by mysterious arms, which held her in an unbreakable grip. And the last thing she saw as she sunk like a stone was the diamond glowing before her, only inches away. When the woman's husband returned from the synagogue, he was astonished to find the door open the baby crying, and no sign at all of his wife. He alerted the neighbors, and they spent the rest of the night searching for her. But only at dawn did they find her body floating face down near the shore of the river. And never did they find out what had caused her to leave the house on that, the 40th day. But it was whispered in the village that demons had lured her to the river, and after that no woman among them dared to leave home after giving birth until the full 40 days were over and danger posed by the demons had passed. That's an Iraqi Kurdistan oral tradition. Okay, can we put this in a bit of perspective here? If you've never had a child, you need to study postpartum. It is it is really major. It's real. So after a woman has given birth to a baby, all of those hormones and everything are like they funnel out. They are drained out of her body. Her body is leached of so many stabilizers that is postpartum. Okay. Not enough education is given to us. We are told just to stay cooped up and deal with it because hooray, we're a mother, right? Just stay cooped up and you'll get over it. That's not very healthy for the mother or the child. That builds a lot of resentment later down the road. These are nightmarish folk tales, y'all. Constantly keeping the woman looking dumb and ignorant, making her sound so naive. Oh, here's the Lilith Cave one. We should reread that. We did read that earlier, and we've only been going 12 minutes. So we're going to read Lilith's Cave again today. Because again, we have to be blamed for everything because men are not held accountable. They don't hold themselves accountable. They need us beholden to them, as all Abrahamic religion, followers do. This is all from Abraham, y'all. Abraham. Because these are, you got to remember, oral traditions hold on to the ones that are most effective and work the most to control the populace. What populace are we controlling? The whole populace, but the majority is being able to control the women, right? What are we seeing in legislation now? Control over the birth. Right. Okay. There was a house in Tunis that was said to be haunted by demons. Once it had belonged to a wealthy family, but demons had invaded the house to hold a wedding. And when the wealthy owner had resisted, neither he nor his wife had ever been seen again. After that, the house was boarded up and no one entered it. At last, the house was sold for next to nothing to a man who planned to tear it down and build another in its place. But before he did, his wife convinced him that they should examine it and take for their own any valuables that might remain there. Though reluctant because of the rumors of demons, he finally agreed that they would go there together and search for anything of value. When the old people heard of their plans, they warned them not to go, but they refused to heed. When they succeeded in opening the front door, the couple found that expensive furnishings inside had molded. Nothing of value had survived. But before they left, the wife insisted on opening the door to the cellar as well. And at last, the husband kicked the door in, despite the fact that the demons were rumored to have made their home there. Much to their surprise, they had found the cellar furnishings in perfect condition. None seemed to have aged at all. They were worthy of a place in a palace and especially valued valuable was a mirror with an ornate gold frame, which in itself was worth far more than they had paid for the house. The wife brought the mirror and all of the furnishings in the cellar to her own home and proudly displayed it. She hung the mirror in the room of their daughter, who was a dark-haired conquet. The girl glanced at herself in the mirror all the time, and in this way she was drawn into Lilith's web. Vanity. For the mirror had hung in the den of demons, and a daughter of Lilith had made her home there. And when the mirror was taken from the haunted house, the demoness came with it. For every mirror is a gateway to the other world and leads directly to Lilith's cave. That is the cave Lilith went to when she abandoned Adam and the Garden of Eden for all time. The cave where she sported with her demon lovers. From this from these unions, multitudes of demons were born, who flocked from that cave and infiltrated the world. And when they want to return, they simply enter the nearest mirror. That is why it is said that Lilith makes her home in every mirror. It's just vanity, reflection. Okay. 9 months after the wife brought those furnishings into the house, she was found dead one morning, having choked on a feather she breathed in from one of the silken pillows she had taken from the cellar. After her death, her husband sold all the furniture and gave the proceeds to charity. He only wanted to get rid of it. All he kept was the gold framed mirror, for his daughter refused to part with it. In the days that followed, things went from bad to worse. During the day, the girl avoided her household duties, nor did she give her widowed father any assistance. Instead, she spent her time before the mirror admiring herself. Now, the daughter of Lilith, who made her home in that mirror, watched every moment of the girl who posed before her. She bided her time, and one day she slipped out of the mirror and took possession of the girl, entering through her eyes. In this way, she took control of her, stirring her desire at will. So it happened that this young girl, driven by the evil wishes of Lilith's daughter, ran around with young men who lived in the same neighborhood. She started coming home later and later, and a time came when she sometimes did not come home at night at all. Her father suffered greatly over this, filled with shame, for he knew that once her reputation had been ruined, no worthy young man would marry her. And in this he was right. For the daughter of Lilith that possessed the girl never let her come close enough to any one young man to feel love for him. For if this had happened, the power of the demoness over the girl would have been broken. Instead, she drove her on, commanding her roving eye to seek out yet another. Once, when she had not returned home for 2 nights and her bed had not been slept in all that time, her father was possessed with a great fury and uttered a curse against her. The curse was so severe that even he was surprised to hear it spoken. May the Lord turn my unworthy daughter into a bat, flitting around from place to place, from one man to the next, without ever becoming attached to anyone. Because she has chosen to abandon herself to the night. May she be doomed to live in darkness, and may she be fated to bear the curse as long as shame lives in my heart. At that moment, the young woman in the arms of a young man suddenly screamed and vanished from the room, and all that he had saw in that instant was a bat that flew out of the window uttering a terrible cry. That is a Tunisia oral tradition. Hello, Teasy girl. Good to see you, honey. Hey, we're learning about some crazy, crazy folklore. All right. So I'm gonna finish there because I've just heard we've got some stuff we gotta do, and I hate to cut it short for you, but Deezy, I'm so glad to see you, honey bear. Um, and I'm sorry to have to do pop-ups and that things are so sporadic, but I'm in the middle of moving and we're moving farther out into the country. We're going where there's bear in the yard. In the yard, there's bear and there's deer and there's wild turkey. Not the alcohol, y'all. Not the alcohol. Like living wild turkey. So I need to get me a crossbow and see if I can still shoot them things. It's been probably 23, 25 years since I've hunt anything. Yes, girl. I love your face too. You're adorable. Yes, girl. Yes. Well, I'm gonna get the garden. I'm gonna get to have my own garden, my own space. Y'all just don't know. I've got a massive reveal story and tell you about this whole it's insane. I'm gonna have to do a live. I'm gonna have to schedule a live premiere from the new place and freedom, liberation, being able to shit, just have a damn garden. You know? The bareness, I mean, everybody should be able to have a garden. Ah, not everybody can have a garden. So, but my next step too is to like light some fires under these politicians in my area and be like, what the hell are you thinking with these crazy laws? You know, let a woman be a Lilith if she wants to be a Lilith. Has she has she committed any unalivings? Has she broken any laws? Let's talk about that. Yeah, these Jewish folklores are something else. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll see you soon. Later.